Welcome to a special third and final part of this coffee with yours truly, Rainbow Dragon, continuing the session, surviving COVID, and my trinity of theories as an independent artist, independent activist. Rock and roll it before I forget it. You know I'm gonna thank the farmers and the butchers and the cooks and the nurses and the doctors. And those truckers on the field in this North America going east, west, north, south with those potatoes and that bacon and that milk. And those in the farms and the farmers and the butchers and the bakers and the cooks and the firefighters, IT workers and those plumbers and the electricians. This rock and roll, dragon, rock and roll. Grateful, thankful that my rent's fully paid my rent and electricity bill. 7th of March, full moon, special edition, third and final part of the Trinity of series entitled Surviving COVID and presenting, discussing, analyzing, meditating on my Trinity of theories, the CIT citizen integration theory, the DRT debt fusion theory, and the democratic fusion theory, which I'm calling all willingly loving from Montreal, Hawk Island to support in any way, shape, capacity, or form by advocacy, of course, the implementation of my Trinity of theories via the fourth dimension. And that fourth dimension is, of course, LOVE, a special ingredient, main message, and everything that I'm going to say, meditate, philosophize on. A little bit of rock and roll style, dragon, rainbow dragon, I'm going to rock and roll it. But of course, with consent. Give yourselves a hug like you never hugged before is the main message with consent. Give yourselves a hug like you never hugged before is the main message with consent. Mutual understanding and LOV gives yourselves a big hug. What is tonight's gonna play hockey? Go Habs, go! Please give 10% for charity of owners and players of the NHL, National Hockey League, NFL, National Football League, NBA, National Basketball Association, MLBA. Call it a heart from this independent athlete who's created a most perfect, efficient, simple workout training program exercise which requires no equipment. Lost 77 pounds and, of course, got out of depression, being suicidal, and philosophized and presented my thesis. Became the people's doctor at the beginning of 2023 with my thesis, of course, entitled of which I've lectured and will lecture and discuss in the coming days, weeks, and months, and of course, special on request as I am triple vaccinated and open for business. On the menu is, of course, surviving COVID, my philosophies. Before I continue, of course, I will continue to say thank you, and I'm putting a call since it's 3:51. I'm calling Wall Street, independent, financially struggling, although rich, wealthy, super affluent, first and foremost in kisses. Kisses credited by the forgotten goddess, got by the trillions credited of kisses. 718 trillions of kisses. You heard that correct. I'm a kiss trillionaire. So kisses got to give to all my willing, loving allies and armies trillions of kisses, by which I'm laying the foundation in this Montreal, aka Hawk Island. On Mount Royal, those trillions of kisses, which were credited with the condition that will freely distribute to all my willingly loving allies and armies, credited from the forgotten goddess, in which I want to lay the foundations, and I'm laying the foundations of the dancing goddess and the dragon kingdom, which are one empire for world peace and for the rebirth, rejuvenation, strengthening of unity across the collective North American civilization, aka the North American civilizational complex, of which is, of course, a geopolitical theory which I presented last year and will continue on request and by my own will in the coming days, weeks, and months ahead to discuss so that we can fully have a more understanding what it means as myself, a Quebecer Canadian, North American, many past lives, many incarnations, as a matter of fact, served in the U.S. Army, was born in the USA, twice in past lives, 156 years ago, now way south of Hawk Island, Montreal, served in the U.S. Army, 718 miles from Hawk Island, Montreal, right on this metropolis island. Grateful, thankful today that my rent is fully paid for the month of March. It is March 7th, full moon day today, meditating and feasting, cleaning, feasting on a budget. Grateful, thankful for the coffee. Grateful, thankful that my rent is fully paid for this month of March. Fully paid my rent and electricity bill and got bread and some cheese and some lettuce and a little bit of black forest ham, which I can make myself a sandwich later on to feast on a budget. And I got a little bit of ice cream left, which I'm gonna probably eat tonight, watching a movie or watching some news or some documentary, meditating on this full moon. Special goddess writers, I am, of course, also a universal spiritual teaching student. I say universal spiritual teaching student because, of course, I am learning every day and I do not know all the answers. And my universal spirituality is, of course, based on my previous incarnations and incarnations dating from ancient Egypt, ancient Rome, ancient India, and many other places, such as here. I was born right here on this island twice, on the island of Montreal, and even in Latin America, Central America, and many past lives, many incarnations. Today, as a Quebecer, Canadian, North American, hoping for world peace and a reconciliation and a moving, a breaking towards the impasses. And of course, as I am a pro labor, universal revolutionary centrist, firmly believing in the implementation of my trinity of theories: CIT, citizen integration theory, DRT, fusion theory, and democratic fusion theory. And fundamentally, I am calling all willingly loving and to support a public and a private partnership, because my dream for the rebirth, rejuvenation, recreation, security, and prosperity, and insurance of liberty and freedom for the North American civilizational complex, aka the North American collective civilization, is first and foremost here from Montreal, Quebec, La Belle Province, Canada, North America. My dream also manifesting as a for world peace, the dancing goddess and the dragon kingdom, of which my fundamental principles are within. And of course, it is fundamentally a call for a public private partnership, the implementation of my trinity of theories for the creation of the two complementary covenant and cooperative institutions, the international or in North American Dragon Force for defense, strictly and foremost, and only and solely to be for defense, security, and service and to respond for emergency scenarios. As of course you see hundreds of my workout training program videos, emerging working out training and exercising, discussing scenarios, and of course you can see many of them during Fiona, when of course it not only devastated in Florida, but also came to the Maritimes, to the Atlantic provinces, what we call the Maritimes here in Canada. The, of course, Prince Edward Island, Nova Scotia, New Brunswick, Labrador, and of course Newfoundland. And of course, you can see my workout training programs dedicating for the recovery thereof. So that is the call for a North American integrated, citizen integrated from all existing institutions and organizations, coast to coast, ocean to ocean, since we have, my brothers and sisters, two oceans. That way, to the east, that way is the Atlantic. To the west, that way is the Pacific. And we got a collective North American civilization, and my geopolitical analysis and theories and principles and theories fundamentally are made, concocted, and of course produced first and foremost for the North American civilizational complex, which the North American civilizational complex is, of course, my theory and philosophy which regards the North American realm, Mexico, Canada, US, and my inclusion, of course, of the islands of Cuba, Haiti, the Dominican Republic, and Bahamas, and the islands around about. The paradox of Cuba, of its inclusion, I've discussed it in last year, in the past days, weeks, and months, when I've discussed and I've presented to the public on the public sphere on Facebook and on YouTube, my of course my analysis, my geopolitical analysis, as I am a independent geopolitical analyst and theorist, and independent fitness captain, and independent artist as well. Rock and roll it for the workers, farmers, butchers, bakers. A little bit of poetry, rap, rock and roll, and of course ideas for movies, script scenarios, and lyrics for songs, which I'm also an artist and a philosopher, a geopolitical analyst and theorist, and an independent athlete, a great independent athlete, challenging the players of the NHL, National Hockey League, NFL, National Football League, NBA, National Basketball Association, MLB, to try to do my workouts if you can. Try to do my workout, which I've created and which I'm proud to have created back in 2019. The paradox of its creation is, of course, that when have made it back in October 2019, have made it to go hand in hand with a World War III scenario. You heard that correct. So to go back in time, back to October 2019, yours truly, an independent fitness captain on a fitness journey, which I still am. Have launched, of course, yesterday with my march on 60, last night on the 6th March, more than 4 hours to the mountain and back roundabout. Couldn't post the videos because some technical issues, but whatever, blah, 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 blah. I marched, steel toe boots for launched the March Madness in the lair of the dragon here. I'm going to work out, train, exercise for the coming days, weeks, and of course month ahead. It is 7th of March, and of course for more than 22 days, 23 days. March has 31 or 30 days, whatever. More than, if 30 days, it's 23 days from today. We're going to work out, train, exercise. Maybe not today workout because it's full moon, and we're going to meditate and rest. But in the coming days and weeks, we're going to do intense boxing, as I am, of course, still challenging Donald Trump to a boxing match on the Canadian-U.S. border in a rink made of joint Canadian-U.S.-Mexico aluminum and steel, based on, of course, the my challenge to Donald Trump as a pro-labor universal revolutionary centrist, which firmly believes that my trinity of theories for the North American civilizational collective in a non-partisan manner, as a pro-labor universal revolutionary centrist, and the creation of the two complementary covenant and cooperative institutions fundamentally a public-private partnership is what's the response needed for the propelled in the 21st century North American collective civilization, aka the North American civilizational complex, and even furthermore to solidify for world peace and the rebirth, regeneration, and of course moving into the 21st century of the North American civilizational realm, aka the North American civilizational complex. 3:58 p.m. Please, 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 they call it a heart from this financially struggling, although rich in kisses, with some brain and some muscle, who's not perfect, far from it, independent artist, activist, and athlete, geopolitical analyst, and theorist, Adrian Hanna, dragon rebirthing as yours truly androgynous pansexual founder of the dancing goddess and the dragon kingdom. Call it a heart. Still got 31 minutes buying, selling, trading stocks, futures, options, puts for the next 31 minutes. 31 minutes. Buy, sell, trade, futures, options, put stocks on the stock market. Wall Street, Wall Street. Please, 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 if you make a million in this next 31 minutes, please give 10% of a million, which is the equivalent of 10% equivalates to 100,000. If you make a million stock market profit today or tomorrow or the coming days, please give 10%. Equivalent to 100,000. You can divide it by 4. Give 25,000 for food security, 25,000 for women's sports leagues, 25,000 for LGBT causes, and for environmental issues to plant a tree. For every tree that we cut down, that is a call of the heart from yours truly, Adrian Hanna, dragon, independent artist, athlete, activist, geopolitical analyst, and theorist, and universal spiritual teaching student, philosopher, who's doesn't know it all, who on principles goes by non-sectarian, non-dogmatic matters, and who doesn't play it self-righteous. I got some issues, some vices, rock and roll with it. And matter of fact, as I admitted in the past videos of Coffee with Dragon, surviving COVID series, and this being the last series, I'm gonna say go again that I wouldn't mind owning a strip club. And my strip club will be a Rainbow Dragon Strip Club. Farmers, truckers would get discounts. First and foremost, the farmers, the truckers, and the butchers, and the bakers. The bakers will bake the bread because I got bread. So farmers, truckers, butchers, bakers, because everybody gotta eat, even Wall Street. Everybody gotta eat, even Wall Street. I said everybody gotta eat, even Wall Street. I said everybody gotta eat, even Wall Street. Ain't that a fact? So I wouldn't mind only be open on Thursdays, Fridays, Saturdays, 3 days a week, or 4 days a week, Sundays, let's say. 3 or 4 days a week. It will be LGBTQ friendly, and LGBTQ, well, both men, trans women will be allowed to strip and XYZ, and big discount for the farmers, for the butchers, for the bakers, for the nurses will get discounts on food, on lap dances and what have you. There you go. Now know another secret about me. I'm not perfect, far from it, and don't play it self-righteous as I am in my dragon's lair and private citizen from my private underground, literally underground room office and temple. I share a lot about my philosophies, my theories, my art with the public. I put it on the public sphere. And from my underground lair, I urge all to please increase in hygiene in public. Please increase in hygiene in public. Please increase in hygiene in public. Because when we step outside of our private domain, right here, I'm in my private underground room, office, and temple. I can shut everything off, close the blinds, get naked, start dancing naked on Madonna's music, Tekashi 6ix9ine music, or whatever else, techno music, or Rihanna music. But when we step outside, I could have that right in my privacy, my own domain. But I opened the door, the window. I'm live on Facebook. I'm going to put this on YouTube in the private domain, in the public domain, the public sphere, the public domain. Right, YouTube, Facebook are public domains, although there is a private public partnership, just like I am calling for the Dancing Goddess and the Dragon Kingdom to be public and a private partnership, such as my complementary covenant and cooperative institutions to be created via the implementation of my Trinity of theories to be fundamentally a public and a private partnership, a PPP, public-private partnership. Fundamentally, my theories are for this public-private partnership. First and foremost, for the North American civilizational realm, or the collective North American civilization. But my brothers and sisters, when I step outside, I'm no longer just private citizen. I'm also public. Another dimension is added. The dimension of being a public citizen right in my private office. This is an office, small, cannot have open doors to give hugs, to give kisses, to give licks, to give tickles, to give whatever I offer. First and foremost, kisses, hugs to all my willingly loving allies and armies. Pledge your allegiance, regardless of past XYZs. Right, that's what I got to offer first and foremost. Rich, kiss trillionaire with some brains and some muscle, not perfect, far from it, get moody, get upset, get triggered. I'm a pro labor universal revolutionary centrist. Far from being perfect, far from being, I've been a POS, a piece of shit maybe. A lot of times I deal with my own toxicity. I got my own energies, my own sometimes intensity, and I admit my own faults, my own little secrets, which I put in the public sphere to do whatever you want with it. You can try to whatever blackmail me or whatever, try to blackmail me or do whatever you want to degrade me in the most degrading manner in POR, not in the dark net and whatever. You can do that. Not a dictator. Do I'm androgynous pansexual to my allies and armies. If God kisses first and foremost, so we all have a little bit of things that we don't like to admit in the public, and sexuality is a part of it, right? People can be compromised, be put in blackmail position or and different XYZ if they like a golden shower of what have you. XYZ factors, no need to spy on me, RCMP. She says, CIA, Stasi. KGB are gone, the Stasis are gone after November 1989, and Mossad, no need to spy on me. I said my secrets openly, they're there. If you search good enough, you can see my own confessions, the Rainbow Dragon confessions. I confess. I'm not perfect, far from it. And we have this irrational fears, irrational forces which drive us, move us willy nilly. Whether they're sexual, whether they're racist, whatever we have, a little bit of those hidden fears, like if the analogy of the 6'6" tall fellow who's of course survived three concussions. He spent 3 years in 13 years, three concussions in the NFL, survived being hit. He's 6'6", 360, yet comes in my underground room, Austin Temple, and he starts screaming and running to the door. So why are you screaming? You're spider. He's afraid of spiders. He's 6'6", 360 pounds, survived three concussions, spent 13 years in the NFL. He is afraid of a tiny little spider. Who would have figured? It's irrational. It's irrational. We have this irrational dimensions. I always portrayed and I say 2 plus 2 does equal 4. But that doesn't mean, and I do not write 2 plus 2 equals 4 in only one color, only black, or only white, or only white and black. I write it in black and in white and all the colors of the rainbow. The plus, I write it in green and red. You can put one line green, one line red, or one black and one white, just like the plus. You can put one white, one black, or vice versa, black and white and black. And you can put all the colors in the rainbow in this equation. 2 plus 3 equals 4. And that means that brains and muscle and the emotions, the irrational, even the spiritual, can work hand in hand together. They mustn't necessarily be in conflict. They gotta break the impasse, because sometimes we gotta break the impasse. My own self, I gotta break my own impasses, financial especially, economic, commercial. But I'm grateful on the 7th of March. My rent's paid and I'm the best athlete, probably one of the best boxers. Dancers, I'm the best, that's for sure. Nobody can match yours till he's dancing, but I'm not perfect, far from it, but with all the imperfections, all the flaws, the energies of character, and everything that I do have, I do firmly believe without a doubt that my trinity of theories, the CIT, Citizen Integration Theory, the DRT, Debt Fusion Theory, and the Democratic Fusion Theory, the DFT, to be implemented that trinity of theories via LOV, and that LOV is that fourth dimension, as if it's not about love. Love is also action, not just blah blah blah, because fundamentally I can spit tens of thousands of sophisticating verbose intellectual language, and my little tiny dick clit will not grow. But that's another matter of which we all gotta deal with. Now that you know another secret, you know everything about me now. How many things we would like to really know, right? Because we all have certain things which we are ashamed, right, to be put in the open, or we can be blackmailed with, or threatened with, or XYZ. in whatever factor, shape, or forms. It's part of us. People can be compromised. Whatever politicians, XYZ. I have freedom tattooed here. FREEDOM. 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 But although I have freedom tattooed on my left arm, I admit by my solo, by myself, sword of freedom being double edged as it is, it's too hard to lift, too heavy to lift by my solo. Who's gonna lift the sword of freedom? You very few of us, very few of us are actually capable of lifting the sword of freedom and fighting in the cause of freedom. Freedom is it's even dangerous. It's very new, right? Very new. And how we deal with all the complexities with cultural issues and all the things that we have, psychological yearnings and desires and XYZ, right? Me, dragon, rainbow dragon, right? It's little tiny feet, tiny hands, tiny little androgynous scarlet dick. Cannot lift the sword of freedom, right? By myself. Or to attain, break the impasse, the psychological, social, financial, economic, financial, commercial. I make the analogy of the economic, financial, commercial, and I've lost economic, financial, commercial continuance. Right? The money. Ah, I'm living in the worst financial crisis of my life, but I'm rich in push-ups. Kisses first and foremost, kisses first and foremost, kisses first and foremost. Hugs I got to give to all my willing, loving allies and armies. And I got the Trinity of theories, which I firmly believe its implementation for the 21st century can bring a resolution to new institutions, to new, in a public-private partnership, to us as a collective North American civilization, to encourage citizens to work out, train, exercise. I cannot stress, my brothers and sisters, the importance of working out, training, and exercising. It has been, is, and will be my medicine and therapy of choice. Working out, training, and exercising. Working out, training, and exercising. It is my medicine and therapy. Get moody, get upset, do push ups. The Dragon Army, I said, we channel the aggression with push ups and hugs. Don't start hugging people in the streets without consent. Consent is necessary. Consent, mutual understanding, and love. Sure, I wish I could afford a massage therapy. I've been singing about my wishes to afford a massage therapy session ever since I had COVID back in February 2020 when I almost died in many ways. I did die being reborn, Adrian Hanna Drag, because there's nothing that I want to go back to pre-COVID for myself, right? I even lived in worse times when I was chronically ill for years, chronically ill, and struggled with XYZ employment and with one foot in the streets. I was one foot in the libraries, one foot in the streets, one foot in the libraries, one foot in the streets, one foot in the libraries. I'm still learning every day. I've written tens of thousands of pages of philosophy, theory, art, songs, poetry, and of course, I've presented now in a concise form the Trinity of theories, which is coming out of that. Even years of struggle and suffering, depressed and suicidal. I've conquered depression, I've conquered depression, I've conquered depression. Stress enough, the importance to work out, to train, and to exercise. Have been and will advocate for the mass financing via, again, public-private partnership, and my call, my dream for the Dragon Army, to encourage citizens to work out, to train, and to exercise, to channel the aggression, to sublimate the aggression is of utmost importance. We do push-ups and hugs. We channel the aggression and the violence with push-ups, with hugs of the Dragon Army, Rainbow Dragon Army, with push-ups and hugs, push-ups and hugs. And I call, having them, and will call for a mass financing. My brothers, I'm gonna say brothers in the patriarchal sports league. I'm gonna say patriarchal because, let's face it, there's not even one women's sports leagues existing now, which makes even close financially, economically, commercially to what the NFL, National Football League, NHL, National Hockey League, NBA, National Basketball Association, MLB makes. Not even close, not even one. I hope my dream for the DGA, although integrated, all genders, trans men, trans women, integrated dancing, all ages, all sexual orientations, to be an integrated dance league. Sure, we can have professional dancing and dancers and financial economic compensation, but the DGA to be for pleasure and purpose, right? To be for pleasure and for purpose, for pleasure and for purpose. Fundamentally, to be a public-private partnership. Fundamentally, I'm the greatest dancer with some brain and some muscle. Not perfect, far from it. Don't play it the self-righteous. And I got some vices, some issues. With all that, I am do firmly convinced without a doubt that my trinity of theories is an answer partly to what we're facing now. And my theories and my philosophizing analysis, my geopolitical analysis and theory back in 2019 in October is and has concluded in many ways, shapes, or form, even now as we speak, as the continuing geopolitical escalations worldwide have even concurred to my analysis back in October 2019. And freedom, I have seven holy letters FREEDOM tattooed on my left arm. I admit my hands are too small to lift the sword of freedom by myself. And very few of us, myself, I'm not going to include myself in there, are worthy to fight in this cause, my brothers and sisters. Please, NFL, National Football League, NHL, National Hockey League, NBA, National Basketball Association, MLB, please give owners and players to some food security. Freedom we also have to have if we have to continue a civilization to attain harmony between civilization and nature, which is very important at this moment. To attain harmony with civilization, to look towards the stars, to look to colonize Mars, colonize above towards the stars, right? As we propel ourselves. And if we are to replace war, we need to channel the aggression and sublimate the violence. That's what a lot of sports are, part of that. And take my maybe I've resented for a little bit, but I've lost the economic, financial, commercial due to being LGBTQ rainbow. Yes. Rainbow Dragon loves cock. Rainbow Dragon loves cock. Rainbow Dragon loves cock. I do. Sorry. Nobody, politicians were compromised. He had some golden showers. He had some homosexual. Blackmail, blackmail, blackmail. My rent's paid. My electricity bill is paid. I like to say I don't owe nobody nothing, but I do. My anonymous sister, friend, sister, if I make a million, I'm gonna give her half. If I make a billion, I'm gonna give her half. A trillion, I'm gonna give her half. For a lot of things. The farmers here, because we have a privilege of civilization. That's why I thank the farmers in my rock and roll, first and foremost. Farmers of Quebec, La Belle Province, Canada, United States, Mexico, the collective North American civilization. Because food is so important. I have food security, which I firmly believe in as a cause. Food security is super important. And I've presented my thesis called The Privilege of Civilization, of which we have, all of us have, the privilege of civilization. We all have it, myself included now. 7th of March, rents paid. April 1st, April Fools, don't know. Don't know. So many things I don't know. In a parallel life, I'm a super scientist, design, create satellites, ICBM rockets, microchips, supercomputers, yes. In this life, some brain and some muscle, an independent artist, independent fitness captain, geopolitical analyst, and theorist. Was the greatest dancer, and dancing is my favorite sport. Although I love hockey, can skate, cannot break, so that's a problem. To be on the skating rink too much, especially with the NHL. Love basketball, too short. Can admire it and say, "Wow, that's beautiful, strong. Wow, I can cheer on, applaud." Football, gridiron, yes, I could. I could play CFL, NFL. I could play definitely. Drills, defense, offense, offense, defense, defense, offense. I love sport. Dancing is my favorite. I'm not perfect, far from it. I firmly believe in the CIT, citizen integration theory, DRT, death fusion theory, and democratic fusion theory, to be implemented via the fourth dimension LOV for the creation of the two complementary covenant and cooperative institutions. The North American integrated, citizen integrated, strictly and solely and only for defense of the North American civilizational complex, of the North American civilizational realm of North America, for defense, security, and service, strictly and only, and for emergency responses. As you see hundreds of my workout videos with drills and imagination and scenarios of which when I created my workout training program, which is effective, simple, and efficient, I'm looking for volunteers, work in progress to build a 1-800 Dragon Army number, Dragon workout application, the 300 workout, because it's also called the 300 workout or the Dragon Army workout, or the officially it's called the General War Integrated Total Body Training System. It's a long title because since due to the fact that when I have created it back in October 2019, it's a paradox. It's a paradox in many ways, a paradoxical creation of this workout training program system. Back in 2019, when I've made it, being an independent fitness captain on a fitness journey, and being a geopolitical analyst and theorist, a great geopolitical analyst and theorist, a super geopolitical analyst and theorist, an excellent geopolitical analyst and theorist, while also being a piece of dust, lusting, moody, getting moody, piece of dust nonetheless, blah, 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 blah. But nonetheless, I am great, super excellent at that. To analyze trade agreements, complexities of historical antecedents or trade or commercial or internal civilizational realms, geopolitical realms, and nation states and their interactions and their past antagonisms or current civil strife and XYZ factors. I'm good at geopolitical analysis. Many of it, much of it, has come to fruition paradoxically. In many ways, my geopolitical analysis has come to a fruition in many, many ways. Not fully, but many, many parts of it. And due to that, even during COVID, I've started advocating for my geopolitical theories, my philosophies, and my theories to be implemented across the North American civilizational realm. NORAD, NATO, NORAD, NORAD, NATO, first and foremost, of course. So we're going to rewind back in time. We're going to go to 2019. But first, before do proceed, I do want to continue the paragraph on the privilege of civilization. So I presented my thesis January, first days of January 2023. I've entered the years presenting my thesis to the world. My thesis being the privilege of civilization, which myself, a financially struggling, rich and kisses independent artist, athlete, activist, geopolitical analyst and theorist, philosopher, world's greatest dancer who's not perfect, far from it, who's got tiny hands, tiny feet, tiny little. You know my secrets now. Don't try to blackmail me because I'm gonna just probably burst on a angelic like an angel laughing. As I fight my own battles, I fight my own battles, I fight my own battles. I can put on gloves. First Donald Trump and Tyson Fury, and then stand in line after I box Donald Trump, box Tyson Fury. You can put on the gloves. Or freestyle battle rap or argue whatever. But I fight my own battles. We can go legal, legit in a open rink with gloves, and we can tango. No, not a problem. But the privilege of civilization, which I presented as my thesis, is we all have it. I have it, you have it, we have it. The Prime Minister Justin Trudeau now has a privilege of civilization. Maybe he is on a plane. Maybe he is on a train. Maybe he is on a bus. If he's on a bus, if he's taking the highway, that is a privilege of civilization. Highways were built with brains and muscle. The railways were built with brains and muscle. The planes, the airports were built with brains and muscle because brains and muscle has been, is, and will be required for us to build, maintain, or upgrade civilization. Right? So he's utilizing one of those privileges of civilization when I go on my marches. It's night, sometimes it's in the evening. I have the pedestrian. That was also built with cement, with brains and muscle, with delineations and mathematics and know-how. Perhaps dating to ancient Egypt or most likely ancient Rome, because the Romans built a lot of extensive roads, right? They were masters in road building, the ancient Romans. I was there in a past life, built some aqueducts, laid some bricks for some aqueducts, built some water for the pyramids in ancient Egypt as well, mostly fed the workers, but that's another story. Farmer in a past life many a times. Today, 7th of March 2023. So we have that privilege of civilization. Now, myself, I have the electricity. Because brains and muscle built 63 dams across this province of La Belle Province, Quebec. Thank you, bless you, past workers out of Quebec, present and future. Gonna credit big hugs. You can say I don't want anything to do with your hugs. Sing some rock and roll. No problem. Gonna rock and roll for Hydro. Gonna rock and roll it for the Hydro. Gonna rock and roll it for the Hydro. Gonna rock and roll it for the Hydro. Let's go. In the next 7 years, I'm gonna bless workers of Hydro Quebec to build 7 more dams. That's my blessing for Hydro Quebec. In the next 7 years, big dragon hugs and blessings to build 7 more dams. In the next 7 years, big dragon blessings to build 7 more dams. Because it's clean, zero pollution, zero emission energy, which we're utilizing. I have that privilege of civilization. Of course, I paid. I paid it. March 1st, I paid my electricity bill. But it's still a privilege of civilization, right? So we have multi-connected, interconnected, intersected privileges of civilization. Within the privilege of civilization, which is all of us have multi-meters, multi-beaters. My hockey beloved Habs, go, give to charity, some food security, which are going to play tonight. They have a privilege of civilization. I have the privilege of civilization. Prime Minister Trudeau has the privilege of civilization. President Joe Biden has the privilege of civilization. Gangster rappers utilize on the highways going with that. You don't need another car. You got 7 gifts, some food security, gangster rappers. Thank you. Sort of mentioned the farmers, butchers, bakers, some truckers in the rap songs. I am actually underground rapper, hobby rap. I do. Blessed. Matter of fact, I'm gonna rap for the farmers now. Ready? Yeah, you know I bust a rhyme for the farmers. Yeah, I bust a rhyme hearted for the truckers. Yeah, give 'em, blow 'em kisses for the farmers, butchers, bakers, nurses. Yep. For the farmers, for the truckers, for the butchers, for the bakers. Yeah, switch from rap to rock and roll it. For the farmers of this global bed province. From this Quebec, you know, we roaming. For the farmers, for the cattle, for the cheese. For the cheese. All right. We have that privilege of this food, right? We got big metropolises, myself, my island, Montreal metropolis, big island city, 2.5 million people. I said before that I did not do farming, only in past lives, but as a matter of fact, I did urban farming a few years. So I have some experience. Urban farming, basically what it is, urban farming is at the micro level. I have smaller lots, but fundamentals are pretty much the same, the fundamentals, right? Machinery, technology change, but the fundamentals, we still require the black fertile earth with the water, with the sun rays, the golden sun, who now rises and now sets. My Pope now rises and now sets. It is 4:26 p.m. here, EST in the West Coast, British Columbia, Vancouver, Seattle, Washington State, all the way to LA, San Jose, San Francisco, my second favorite city of the world in North America. San Francisco after Montreal is my favorite where I live. We gotta subtract 3 hours. So them it's 126 because it's 4:26 here. So they got different time zones. We got different time zones across North America. But the sun now covers, although here it's dark, cloudy, and like about to snow. But now the sun covers coast to coast. And not only Canada, but United States, Mexico, going from North America to Central America. We got after Mexico, we got Guatemala, we got Honduras, El Salvador, Panama, Costa Rica, Ecuador, Colombia, Peru, Venezuela, Colombia, Uruguay, Paraguay, Chile, Argentina, Bolivia, Suriname, Brazil, right? We got North, Central, South America, the whole continent, and even a little bit of the oceans. In Europe now it's night. City of the Pyramids, it's night now. Plus what, 6 or 7 hours? Time zones change. So we got also this reality. The sun is always rising and always setting somewhere in the world at a point in time. Sun is always setting somewhere in the world. Sun is always rising somewhere in the world. Great if you want to meditate on the consciousness, right? So for the North American civilizational collective, I'm grateful, thankful, and we different have privilege of civilization. All of us have the privilege of civilization, and we at different levels, depending on XYZ factors. Some have more financial, XYZ more cultural, or whatever the case may be. in XYZ. But we all have the privilege of civilization because we live in a civilization of which, my geopolitical theory is, we have a North American civilizational complex, aka the North American civilizational collective, or the collective North American civilization, which started to be formed in response to the Second World War. Right, and to move it for the 21st century, I believe my Trinity of theories can be of great help, support to implement my Trinity of theories via the fourth dimension. And that fourth dimension is love. Love is also action. Hopefully, with consent, mutual understanding, hygiene, somebody's gonna make good loving. If you ever watch this video, with consent, hug like you never hugged before. A whole period of hockey, 3 periods in hockey, NHL. They're gonna play tonight. I love the sport. 3 periods, 20 minutes. Hug 20 minutes. Give yourself a hug 20 minutes. Give yourself a hug for 20 minutes. Hear me talking. You don't need to look at me too much. Just listen. Just hug the whole time. Laugh, hug with consent, consent, consent. Don't start hugging people in the streets just like that. Say, hey, Dragon told me to hug you. What? Who's Dragon? Rainbow Dragon. Rock and roll rap. A little bit, a little bit, a little bit, a little bit. We all gotta go a little bit crazy sometimes. We need alternative therapy sometimes. Roll on the floor 20 minutes. Just swear. Ah, God damn it. I wish I could. Me is gonna be again about the massage therapy. I cannot afford it. But I'm grateful, thankful that I can take a bath. Can take a bath. Substitute for the massage therapy session, which I cannot afford. I don't even know. It's been more than 3 years since before COVID, since I didn't ask. Went in a massage parlor to ask. Last time I think I went was 2019, maybe September, July, and I asked. 2019, just before COVID, July or something. I went to ask. He said $80 for, like, what was it? $80 for half an hour, like, and then it gets reduced. So 40, 80 you got to pay for first half an hour. And this is 40 for every half an hour. So 120 for an hour, or 110, something like that. It was more than 100. Like, what? The Dragon Army for security and service. Service. Somebody, a trucker needs a massage with accounting, so that there's no abuse where you can ask 3 massages a day, morning, afternoon, and night. You ask for a half an hour. When you go driving on a farm or XYZ, services, all services with consent, mutual understanding, and hygiene. Dragon Army. Service and security defense, only strictly defense. A public-private partnership integrated with all institutions and organizations, corporations, and institutions, public security institutions. This is my dream, my vision, via my philosophies, and to implement my philosophies. Yesterday I was on the march coming back. I see 2 workers. She's going down. I was curious. I'm curious by nature. I said, oh, she's doing maybe some work. There's some danger. He has to go down in the sewers, in the sewers, in the sewers. If they were wearing equipment, I'm a Quebecer, so I addressed it in French. Excusez-moi, vous voulez je pose une petite question. Je suis curieux par nature. Je veux savoir qu'est-ce que vous faites. I don't want to know what you're doing in a bit. I'm just curious. Because I want for integration, right? Citizen integration theory. And then I imagine how we can integrate citizens to learn about everything that we have of collective civilization. I was curious. I said, look, he's risking. There's cables. There's XYZ there. After that, on my march back, I said maybe he could use some service. He also can't afford a massage therapy session. He's going in the sewers, going this and that. He could use a half an hour neck rub. Ah, yeah. I was thinking about that. How the Dragon Army could be for service, security, public-private partnership based on my philosophies. My philosophy is that the body is a temple for pleasure and purpose. Hygiene, hygiene, hygiene. Super important. Please, please, please increase in hygiene in public. When you go outside, this is my open carry disinfectant. This is a hand sanitizer. Open carry disinfectant, hand sanitizer. Open carry my disinfectant. It is a hand sanitizer. I use it. Still have half left. Wash the hands when you go in a bank, when you go in a store, in a grocery store, in a school, in any domain which is not your private still. Public hygiene. I know COVID is not totally over. COVID is not totally over. It's we have a tendency to want to go back and sentimentalize and romanticize a lot of the things of the past, right? Some of us, more or less. I don't like to generalize. More or less, some of us, more or less. Not myself. Said I died during COVID. It's nothing that I want to go back to pre-COVID. And I had COVID 3 times each year: 2020, 2021, 2022, last year. And I'm triple vaccinated. But when I had it in the January 2020, right at the beginning, before it was in the news, before even there was knowledge of what it was, the word COVID came into being only a month after. Right at the beginning, January 2020 until about mid-February or so, mid-February, was very sick and disease. I had all the symptoms of COVID. I thought I was gonna die. I was so sick, sick, sick. It was like death, pestilence, and disease. Like death, pestilence, and disease. It was like death, pestilence, and disease. I said, what is this? I was very sick, ill and diseased. And I healed. I said, I healed. There's nothing that I want to go back to. And we have new energies which are released and have been released in the past decades, since like past decades, with the internet, satellites, telecommunications, and new energies, sexual liberation even. For myself, it has not come without blood, sweat, and tears. For Canadians, Quebecers, and North Americans, and the whole world, as more and more people are coming in. I am also bisexual. I'm also pansexual. I'm also gay. I'm also lesbian. More and more people coming out. It's part of us energies. And then we need to channel and sublimate, not repress. Repressing can make us sickle and disease, whether it's whatever form it is. But channel and sublimate. Understand, channel and sublimate. Aggression, violence. Do push-ups. The Dragon Army, we channel, sublimate the aggression to harm none by push-ups and hugs. Push-ups and hugs. Push-ups and hugs. By push-ups and hugs. Sure, there's dimensions unadmitted. We get angry, we get moody. Myself get moody sometimes. I can't afford a massage therapy session now. Can't take a bath. And I do take baths. I have tens of videos, dozens of videos of those truly taking bathing on YouTube. You know, it's a good therapy. I encourage you try it. Stay an hour in the bath, take a bath, just whatever. I listen to the news or some other, but sometimes I just disconnect, and maybe I should that even more. Perhaps I will just nothing, no noise, no nothing, just half an hour, or even more in just water, staying immersed in water, bathing, staying in water. It's alternative therapy. Working out, training, and exercising have been, am, and will continue to call for the mass financing across the North American civilization and realm, calling on my brothers in the NFL, National Football League, NHL, National Hockey League, NBA, National Basketball Association, MLB, four main patriarchal sports leagues. Please give the food security and support the Dragon's call to mass finance and incentivize our fellow citizens to work out, to train, and to exercise. Sometimes we all need a little bit of encouragement. You see the children doing a push-up, applaud, encourage the children to do another one. You see the children doing a pirouette, applaud, encourage them to do another one. You see the children doing a form of exercise, physical exercise, applaud, cheer the children on to do another one. It can be, I can't stress enough the importance for my own healing and channeling and sublimating with the frustrations, XYZ, psychological, physical urges, channel and sublimate. Sexuality, channel and sublimate. Lusts, fantasies, whatever the case may be, to channel and sublimate. Sometimes we're ashamed, guilt ashamed, fantasize, XYZ, but whatever it is, I would never dare to say it to my own wife, to my own husband, whatever. What would they think of me? What would they say? You know, what would they point the finger at the public we have? But then I ask, but what if the politician has been, a politician can be, right? Take something in the news about potential compromise by sex workers and golden showers and politicians. I said, but What if those tapes exist? What if there's tapes of yours too late on how to dragon with my androgynous little clitoris, dick clitoris? It grows sometimes, rocket up. It rockets up sometimes. It rockets up sometimes, but not so much. I like BDSM. I like BDSM. I like BDSM. I'm gonna share another secret. Oh, I am pansexual, androgynous pansexual. So I'm a man. I'm a woman. I'm a woman and a man. I consider myself to be both a man, both a man and a woman. Pansexual, meaning I'm open to loving trans men, trans women, bisexual, gays, lesbians. That's what pansexual means. So, but I have this fantasy, I have this lust, if you will, fantasy on something that I like. I like to be, with consent, of course, consent, be called nasty names by women. To be also femdom, what's called femdom, if you will. I like it, like that stuff. With consent, I wouldn't mind to, for the woman's pleasure, my pleasure, to be called names with consent, and maybe XYZ, or called name, belittle, or degraded a bit, degraded a bit. There you go. Ceases. RSMP. Stasi are gone after 1989. Musad. CIA. Put a disclaimer, put a warning on my videos. Disclaimer, warning, attention, contains potential triggers and contains potential offensive language. My disclaimers are there. You they can blackmail me. It's in the public. And let's say some tapes exist of me, well, on the dark web, or in compromised pictures or whatever, with 7 dildos up my tukas. I said, hey, well, you put a bad angle on that. Should have put one in my mouth, one in my ear. You have 7 colors: black dildo, white dildo, rainbow dildo, Adrian Hanna Dragon. I was, let's say, for argument's sake, I send this and look, I'm gonna put this on the dark web. Potentially, gonna put you on. There's some tape. I called you and I recorded you and I cuckold. You're a cuck. CUCK. Yeah, but you should have done this like this. I would have some creative input. It would have been nice and creative, you know. Put it. Why you want some money? Let's see how much I have. You want to blackmail me? There's no money in this pocket. There's no money in this pocket. Let's see. Maybe in this one there is. You might get lucky. Get $1 out of the dragon. Now a penny there in the back pocket. Let's see. There's no money there either. I might have $1. Wait. There's $1. That's what I can give you. I'll give you half. Here it is. It's the only dollar I have, so it's 2009 printed, so I'm gonna keep it. So, for value from a past life where I roamed in the USA. So, for value of the past life roamed in the USA, from a value from a past life when I roamed in the USA, I'm gonna keep this dollar. But just hypothetically speaking, if I'm trying to, whatever, sexual blackmail, Adrian Hanna Dragon, Rainbow Dragon, show me some compromised pictures. You know, I'm gonna put this in. I'm gonna degrade you. You're degraded and whatever it is, interracial cuckold, whatever. So I like it. No, I like that stuff. Maybe in a past life I was a porn producer of smut in ancient Berlin. Well, no, I was a cabaret dancer, but that's another story. Before they kicked us out, the Nazis kicked us out in the 30s. So, but for more than 13 years, I was a cabaret dancer. A woman. I was a woman. So I also was involved in some more adult entertainment in that past life as a cabaret dancer. But I gave to charity. I gave to charity. I gave to charity. I was charitable. So although I was a harlot in the past life, I was a harlot in the past life. I was a harlot. I had a good heart. I wasn't that wicked. I was a bit half half, you know. I gave to charity. I give to charity. I give to charity. Food security and poor. I helped them out, even though I wasn't rich. I was involved in the adult industry, but I wasn't rich, wealthy, affluent, super rich. But I gave to charity in that past life until they kicked us out in the 30s, late 30s. They kicked out the adult entertainers of Germany, of course. And the cabaret wasn't only adult; it was also food serving, and during the day it was a more chic place for food and serving and coffee and what have you. But nonetheless, but let's say that would be the case, because it happens. It is what it is. Internet, slander, gossip. We chew our nails. We feel mediocre. We feel inferior. We feel, yeah, feelings. We got a lower aspect of self, myself included. And it's not easy to always admit that we have the lower aspect of self or to see it in the light and try to stay in the middle. Myself, I try to stay in the middle, try to be in the higher self. Sometimes I'm a step in the higher self, sometimes a step in the lower self, but I try to stay balanced. I don't play it self righteous, even as a universal spiritual teaching student, that I'm floating on clouds of spirituality and higher self all the time because no, I still, otherwise, I wouldn't be craving a massage therapy session to get some good hands, good loving. Rock and roll, some good hands on some good loving. Rock and roll hands on some good loving. Rock and roll hands on some good loving. So yeah, maybe there even are videos, short videos of yours truly, masturbating or sleeping or being dozed off on XYZ and being there on the dark web with my little clit dick lit. There you go. Should have seven dildos. Should have put one there. It would have looked better. That's what I was saying. Anyways, it's full moon. It's full moon. It's full moon. So we gotta get a little bit of a crazy. Do push-ups. Full moon. Harm none. Harm none. Harm none. Very important. Sometimes it's best we admit some things and bring them in the light. I have this vice, this issue, this lust. X, Y, Z. Although being androgynous, pansexual, if I would have a wife, I've already asked somebody twice, and I'm gonna ask the third time because that's the only person I would marry. If I would marry somebody, if I would marry somebody. Although it'd be a special BDSM open switch marriage and being androgynous, pansexual, being part of the LGBTQ community, a little bit of different marriages. As a 21st century, I wouldn't mind if I can bring some pleasure to my wife and say, my wife says, "You mind if once I'm gonna cuck you, CUCK, bring you some pleasure?" Okay. I only be selfish and think of my pleasure. If let's say my wife would like some to do XYZ to femdom or XYZ do some things like that to me, would I say no? Okay, 50-50, but then can I do this? Yes. It's a compromise, it's an arrangement, it's a dialogue, it's consent, mutual understanding, it's love, lust, love. But of course, it happens. Politicians got shortcomings, gossip, slander, because we don't like to admit certain things. Myself, I admit. At some things I'm mediocre, at some things I'm average, at some things I'm so. Those two workers who were on the ground yesterday, I was imagining how the Dragon Army of Service and Security can assist. Maybe after the person goes there, he has to go on the ground in the smelly environments. It's not secure. Is all there in that small place. Has to do for the electricity on the ground, the wires on the ground, for decontamination, whatever the case may be. He could use a massage therapy session also. Could use a massage, could use some service. That's my philosophy and protocols for the Dragons be integrated with citizen integrated defense, security, and service force for the 21st century of public-private partnership. Right? So I do meditations on my marches and have been doing philosophizing and theorizing on this during this COVID. This being the third and final part of the COVID special full moon. It is a full moon. It is a full moon. It is full moon. So we go a little bit of we go a little bit of crazy, a little bit of with humor. Sometimes humor, comedy is required. Sometimes I laugh at my own self. I've been depressed and suicidal. I've conquered depression. I've conquered depression. I've conquered depression. If we are to substitute war, hopefully replace war, the outlets to channel and sublimate aggression have to be there. Sports, sports, working out, training, and exercising. I cannot stress enough the importance to work out, to train, to exercise the body. Because all we have forces and energies, and we have a lot of healing to do collectively, individually, right here in Montreal, Hawk Island, in North America. So much work to do here, my own self included. Look, clean, 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 but I could get some more cleaning. I like colors. I'm in my underground room off some temple. Small, I cannot have open doors because if you help me with that house between 57 the Belvedere and 53 the Belvedere on Westmount, it's between 57 the Belvedere and 53 the Belvedere on Westmount. Between 57 the Belvedere and 53 the Belvedere on Westmount. There I could freely distribute hugs, kisses, rock and roll, and workout, train, exercise, and dance, dance, dance more. It's been left decrepit, desolate, and decaying, the house there. I've been passing there for more than 7 years. It's between 57 Belvedere in Westmount and Belvedere Circle. Between 57 Belvedere and 53 Belvedere. Belvedere. Belvedere Road. Right? And there's another road called Belvedere Circle. It's 57 and 53. For more than 7 years, I've been seeing it desolate, decrepit. But I like the roof. It's kind of a green. We can paint it has two kind of like columns before the door entrance. We can paint one black and one white, and the rest rainbow, red, scarlet, and kind of redo the green. But it has a nice roof green. But the rest has been left for many, many years. I don't know how many years, but since I've been passing there for more than 7 years, it's been like that. I say, but he helps me get that house. There I can have open doors. Here it's too small, office room, temple. For that trinity of serving as an office here, as a temple, as a room. It also served as a fourth dimension, a gymnasium where I've created my workout training program system, which I'm going to get to now. Back in time, 2019 October, yours truly, independent fitness captain, on a fitness journey, a world peace advocate, and an independent, great, super, and excellent, independent geopolitical analyst and theorist, taking into consideration several geopolitical events which had transpired, namely the US China trade war, began by the Trump administration in 2018, the arrest of Meng Wanzhou, aka Kathy Meng. She was arrested to honor an extradition treaty with the United States. And consequently to the arrest of two Michaels, Michael Spavor and Michael Kovrig, detained in China. Those geopolitical events, which triggered and began the deterioration of Sino-Canadian, Sino-American, Sino-North American, Sino-Western, for that matter, deterioration of relations. I'm using Sino, Sino, to refer to China as a civilization. That's why I use Sino, Sino. So basically, Canadian-Chinese relations, Chinese-American relations, Chinese-North American relations, and Chinese-Western Chinese relations. That's why I use Sino, Sino, referring when you say Sino, usually refers to China, relating it as a civilization, which China is, dating back thousands of years, even, right? So back in 2019 in October, had analyzed and taken into consideration those geopolitical events which had transpired. And back then, I've sounded the alarm. I've said humanity, Canadians, my American brothers and sisters down south, my North American brothers and sisters, West, 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 the Western world, humanity, humanity, humanity. We are again set towards an international conflagration, aka World War III. That's what I've concluded in 2019 after seeing the trends. And I've also taken into consideration other geopolitical events But mainly, the US-China trade war began in 2018 by the Trump administration, the ongoing terrorism by the Islamic State terror group, and of course the arrest of Meng Wanzhou, aka Kathy Meng, the chief financial officer (CFO) of Huawei. Huawei has become one of the top players in the 5G networks, infrastructure, telecommunications equipment, and infrastructure of the internet, telecommunications, computers, and smartphones. Smartphones. Huawei, one of the biggest. I think he even at one point in 2019 and had overtaken Apple and Samsung for a while. Not sure now, but it had become top five. That's for sure. Smartphone makers and internet telecommunication infrastructure makers, big player in the 5G networks. Huawei. So Kathy Meng, the daughter of the founder and the chief financial officer, was detained by the RCMP, our Canadian National Police Force, to honor an extradition treaty with the United States. So those events, those geopolitical events, were major for me to take into consideration back in October 2019. I've said, hey, and with other events, I said, hey, I'm sounded the alarm here. With all this geopolitical events, major events such as the deterioration of relations between Canada and China, China and the United States, China and North America, and other events, geopolitical events worldwide, I said we are again towards a path, a trend and a path again towards an international conflagration, aka in other words in World War III. So I've created and designed my workout training program system to be for such a scenario, such an event, geopolitical crises, international conflagration, and a World War III. And in other words, paradoxically, as a world peace advocate, I still hope today that we can avert World War III. Still have some hope. But we have to take also into consideration the geopolitical events which have arisen since, and my theories and my philosophies and my analysis, that we constitute a collective North American civilizational complex, aka collective North American civilizational complex of North America, and we got a unique geographical reality of the two oceans. That way is the east is the Atlantic, that way is the west the Pacific, and that we need to defend and ensure and secure liberty. And my call to implement my Trinity of theories, the CIT citizen integration theory, the DRT debt refugee theory, the democratic fusion theory by the LOV, to create the two complementary covenant and cooperative, fundamentally private public partnership institutions. Fundamentally public-private partnership is that's why I'm calling on my Scorpio brother Bill Gates, Mark Zuckerberg, Elon Musk, all government institutions and organizations, public security forces, RCMP, CSIS, FBI, CIA. You know so much now in my videos, a lot about my sexuality, my little energies, my little comedy, humor comedy, my little rap rock. So it's in the light. It's not hidden or shame or guilt or XYZ. So can't XYZ. Not perfect, far from it. So I'm calling on a private public partnership with all institutions and organizations to create it to complementary covenant and cooperative institutions for the 21st century. The North American Citizen Integrated Defense, Security, Service, and Emergency Response Force, aka the Dragon Army, to be for service security and defense only, solely defense and only, and solely defense, and three for emergency responses. And for service, a public private partnership with the DGA, the Dancing Goddess Army, or the North American Integrated Dance League, or the International Integrated Dance League. That's what I'm calling for. To be for environmental education and action, because it requires constant education for citizens, even myself included, to know what goes into recycling, what doesn't, to increase in compost. Compost methods and practices have to be learned because maybe some things don't go into recycling or in the compost. I do compost and recycling here every week. It's done. Thank you, workers of the city, sanitation workers of the city. We pick up the compost every week. We pick up the recycling every week, the garbage every week. Big dragon hugs. Thank you. Appreciate you. Big dragon hugs. And to integrate. But first and foremost, the DRT, the death refusion theory, to create what I call the UE. So simply put, to discuss the DRT, the death refusion theory, which I firmly believe in as an independent geopolitical analyst and theorist, the people's doctor, and I believe in this financial theory to be implemented. So DRT, 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 debt refusion theory, taking all private and public debt, my debt as a private citizen, and if X would represent the private debt of all citizens, if I'm X1, you're X2, and there's hundreds of thousands, millions, tens of millions across the collective North American civilization. So taking all the debt private of myself, 10,000, I'm 10,000, 10,000 for the RBC. All the X's, add them together. And since the United States dollar is still the United States dollar, is still the international financial currency of choice, global trade currency of choice, the world trade currency of choice, international finance, and global commerce currency of choice. Taking all private and public debt, refuse it. So all the debt of Canada, Canadian citizens, private and public debt, and convert it to US dollars due to the fact since the United States dollar, the greenback is still the international currency of international finance, financial currency of choice. The commercial and trade currency of choice. It still is the United States dollar. It has been challenged since 2007 by other currencies, but it still is the currency of choice for international finance, for global trade, for world commerce. So taking all private and public debt, refuse it. Whatever the number is going to be in the trillions, convert it, while the United States dollar, the debt of citizens of the United States, and the 31 trillion, I believe, now there's a problem with debt ceiling. This DRT would solve the debt ceiling problem. So all the debt, the United States dollars will stay the same, the debt of the US because the US dollar. The Canadian dollar, all the private and the public debt of Canada will be converted into US dollars. The Mexican peso converted into US dollars. North America first, and NATO member countries, and even BIS, Bank of International Settlement, Israel, and Africa, all the allies and allies, Central America, South America, even to expand it beyond my call is and the alliance. But first and foremost, for the collective North American civilization, aka the North American civilizational complex, right? And create what I call the UE. And preferably, the UE will be pegged to the United States dollar. So all the debt, the public and the private, whatever that number is in US dollars, be in the trillions, and that will be the initial money supply of this new currency, which I call the UE. UE stands U dot E dot U dot, Universal Exchange Unit. U dot E dot U dot, Universal Exchange Unit. U dot E dot U dot. Preferably by biometrics, the hand, the voice, and that being unique biometric identifiers, pegging all to the United States dollar and the and then freezing the prices at that point in time, maybe ASAP. Full moon to full moon. Today is 7th of March is full moon until I think April 6th is another full moon. Let's do it ASAP, starting tonight, tomorrow, in the coming days, weeks, months ahead, as soon as we can before the debt ceiling across North America. Calling on the Bank of Canada, Federal Reserve, Bank of Mexico, Janet Yellen. Support this theory with all the imperfections and the flaws and whatever rainbow sexuality and energies and rock and roll that I have. I do believe this theory to be implemented with all my heart, and in other theories as well. But first, the DRT has to come. The debt refusion theory. First of all, we can also rebuild and build and rejuvenate, and ensure liberty and more sharing of prosperity and having more fitness and wellness and joy, and healing. First and foremost, from right here, Quebec, Canada, from North America, because fundamentally I'm a North American, I'm a Canadian, I'm a Quebecer. Many past lives, sure, I'm open-hearted, got a universal heart for the whole world. Want world peace. Change sometimes for myself comes pain, transformation. I've suffered, been depressed, suicidal. Studied, read, written tens of thousands of pages of philosophy, but it takes some brain and some action. Putting this into action with all institutions and organizations, the DRT. Cannot stress enough, the DRT. We can put it, we can do it. Taking all private and public debt, and then we have our said, and then all the debt, US dollar, that will be the initial money supply for the UE, and create a new global transnational North American central bank to issue the UE, Universal Exchange Unit, peg the exchange rates at that point in time for the goods and services, goods, right, of the rents, the food, everything. As we have inflation to address it, and we have 10% maximum on all loans thereafter. Be 10% maximum on all loans. No higher than 10%. On credit cards, on all other loans that are from business loans, personal loan, private loan, they have 10% maximum. No higher on all loans. It could be 9.9, 8.53, 7.70, 7.7, 7.7, whatever the case may be, but 10% to do this. Debt refusion theory, DRT, DRT, DRT. I firmly believe in it. And by doing that first and foremost, and then having whatever the money supply is, and with the 10%, and of course, will be the debt will be refused. So, star people have no debts. Have no will be again after I can take loans 10%. We secure the three essential elements of civilization: food, housing, and transport. Food, housing, and transport. Food, housing, and transport. Encourage people to volunteer, to citizen integrate theory, and then we can apply the other two theories: citizen integration theory. Citizen integration theory with the dragon army, dancing goddess army on the ground. We can learn how, of course, the dams operate here in Quebec, La Belle Province. The dams across La Belle Province. You can see how farming is done, how the dams are operating, how railroads operate, function, how ports operate and function. So learn and educate. Citizen integration theory to take citizens, for example, who never visited, myself included, one of those 63 dams that power our electricity, my electricity, coffee brewer, smartphone, laptop now, and all the lights which I'm going to utilize and you're utilizing, not only across La Belle Province, but I believe five, even six, I believe six states now in the USA. And in a few years, it's going to be a lot of island of Manhattan, even in New York, who's going to have electricity all the way from Hydro-Quebec, which I'm blessing in the 7 years to build 7 more dams. With this debt refusion theory, we're going to build not only 7, but 11 and more dams across the province. Hydro-Quebec, go Hydro-Quebec, go Hydro-Quebec. For the North American civilizational complex. The Dragon Army, Dancing Goddess Army to be North American first and foremost, just like we have the NHL, which is now really national. The NHL really is binational, right? Because it has Canadian teams, American teams, just like NBA as well, National Basketball Association, right? So a joint private public partnership and for world peace and encourage people to work out, train, exercise. So debt refusion theory first, DRT to create the UE, Universal Exchange Unit by biometrics, hand, the voice in there being unique biometric identifiers. Then of course the citizen integration theory after we create the two complementary covenant and cooperative institutions, the North American citizen integrated defense only and solely for defense and only and solely and only for defense, security and service and emergency response scenario, and with the International Integrated Dance League, the North American Integrated Dance League, the DGA, the Dancing Goddess Army. As a universal spiritual teaching student, I say the word goddess, full moon today, special to the goddess, forgotten, but if I want to build a temple, it's going to be for the forgotten goddess, be with a new, something new, a new light. The forgotten goddess bringing new light. With consent, hug. With consent, kiss. With consent, workout, train, exercise. With consent, tickle. With consent. Don't start tickling people in the streets because Dragon says, Rainbow Dragon. But hygiene is also important. Please increase in hygiene in public. Wash the hands, disinfect the hands when you go in the bank, when you go in the store, in a grocery store, in whatever domain which is not your private domain. I'm in my underground room off some temple, my private domain. I share it with the public. Live stream on Facebook is gonna be my video on YouTube. I shared in the past and I will share. I'm sharing today and will share tomorrow. Everything that I do as an independent artist, philosopher, geopolitical analyst, and theorist, the world's greatest dancer. Who's not perfect, far from it. And the DRT, I firmly believe in it. Citizen integration theory, so that we fight alienation. Solution. CIT. We fight alienation. We say, hey, look at these farms, these potato farms. These are where my fries come from. This is where my cheese comes from. This is the personnel, the workers involved. Give them a hug. Thank you, farmers. Leave our citizen integration theory, CIT, for the North American Civilizational Collective to fight alienation, since we have a lot of alienation since 1984. Rural urban disconnection between supply chains and food, everything that we have, from the food to the bread to the milk to the butter to the bacon, right? So citizen integration theory and death refusion theory first, and then death citizen integration theory, and democratic fusion theory. Democratic fusion theory is basically the substantial modus of operation for the two complementary covenant and cooperative institutions. The North American Defense, Security, and Service Force to be integrated with all existing public and private institutions and organizations, and the DGA to be for purpose and pleasure. Purpose for the environment, to environmental education and action, in education and action, because education is required. We got to know what goes in the recycling or where can we drop it otherwise. Such as myself a few weeks ago, I went and took a paper, and now I have to check where does the battery goes, place where if I have paint, where does the paint go, what goes in the recycling bin, what doesn't, what goes in the compost, what doesn't. So it's education and action, because we knowing, having wisdom, understanding, and knowledge is only halfway. We got to do as well to do better composting, better and more composting and more recycling, and by citizen integration to go see where that big truck, metal truck, thank you workers who load on the trucks with the recycling, with the garbage recycling, to see where does it go. Oh, it goes there. This is a power plant. This is how it gets crushed and separated, with citizens with the dragon arm to go see this, see that, see how theater works, see how radio telecommunication works, see how farming works, see how the dams operate. Integrate. The democratic fusion theory is the public-private partnership fundamentals of my dream, which is manifesting as the dancing goddess and the dragon kingdom. Because fundamentally, it is a public and a private partnership, which I am, of course, calling for the creation of the two complementary covenant and cooperative institutions, the international or the North American citizen integrated public-private partnership, strictly and only for defense, security, and services with consent, mutual understanding, and hygiene for the 21st century, and for the rebirth, rejuvenation, insurance of liberty and prosperity of the North American civilizational complex, aka the collective North American civilization. As an independent artist, athlete, and activist, AAA, triple vaccinated, surviving of COVID. It's been 3 years. The first time I had it was very, very sick. I'm triple vaccinated, and that's it. 3 vaccines for yours truly does it. And of course, I encourage all to please increase in hygiene in public when you go in a bank, in a store, super important. I also encourage you all to work out, to train, to exercise regularly. It has been, is, and will continue to be my medicine and therapy of choice. Cannot stress enough the importance for regular physical exercise. Sometimes it's hard to get into it, first 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 15 minutes, but it does great wonders for mental health, for the body, for wellness. I am still on a fitness journey in many, many ways. I lost more than 77 pounds, and I created my workout training program, which is effective, simple, and efficient. It requires no equipment. Simple. The rules are simple. These are the rules. And the rules are simple, effective, and efficient. So 93 minutes is allocated in total for one to do 100 push-ups, 100 squats, 100 hawks. 100 of each. Trinity of exercises. Push-ups, hawk squats. 100 for each. 100 push-ups, 100 squats, 100 hawks. That's the Holy Sacred and Divine Trinity. Push-ups, hawks, and squats. Once you start the countdown, there's no pause, no stop. You got to keep it in motion by marching or jogging or running or walking fast pace. Running, walking fast pace, jogging, whatever it is. Once you start the countdown, there's no pause. You got to keep it in motion. Marching, jogging, running, or walking fast pace. 13 maximum reps per set, 3 minimum, anywhere in between 7, 6, 5, 9, 10, whatever the number is until you get to 13. 13 and 3, 13 maximum, 3 minimum, 7, 6, 9, 10, whatever the numbers until you get to 100. 100 push-ups, 100 squats, 100 hawks. Holy Sacred and Divine Trinity. Push-ups, hawks, squats. 13 max reps per set, 3 minimum, anywhere in between 7, 6, 5, 9, 10, whatever the number is. 31 seconds minimum is required of marching or jogging or running or walking fast pace in between sets. So in other words, once you start the countdown or the count up, because you can start from 0 to 93 or count down from 93 to 0. When you put the clock, the timer for 93 minutes. Counter to count down or count up. Either way, 93 minutes is the allocated total amount of time allocated for one to do the workout. 93 minutes. And within that 93 minutes, you got to do 100 push ups, 100 squats, 100 hogs. A maximum of 13 repetitions is allowed per set, 3 minimum. Those two numbers, 13 and 3, they go hand in hand together. 13 and 3, 13 and 3, 13 and 3. You can do 7, 6, 9, change it every time. In theory, you start a countdown, you can start doing 13 push ups or 13 squats or 13 hucks. Or you can march or jog or run for 5 minutes. It's not overly regimented. It's four main rules, four main numbers. Within those rules, there's like so many. The game of hockey, game of football, which I love. Basketball has rules and regulations. Total amount of time by the periods in hockey. It's 3 periods, 20 minutes. 20 times 3, do the math, train the brain. 60 minutes is an hour. Football, it's quarters, 4 quarters. Each quarter has 15 minutes. 4 times 15 is 60 again, 60 minutes, so it's an hour, right? Just like basketball as well, right? But mine is 93, but you can do it within 60 minutes. You can do it maybe within 44, maybe 77, maybe 61. I think my average is about an hour. But I'll go overtime every time when I work out. Dragon goes overtime every time when I work out. Go overtime every time when I work out. But fundamentally, those are the rules. Within those rules, just like a game of hockey, football, gridiron, North American football, basketball can be done, and this is done in very different ways. So my workout can be done in a combination, multiplicity of myriads, hundreds of thousands, maybe even of combination, which within those rules you can do it differently every time. But you got to do 100 for each, for the Trinity. Push-ups 100, squats 100, hocks 100. Now, I've done hundreds of videos. Did my 300 session in September 29th last year, 2022, and I've officially turned the A of my surname into an O. Dragon became Dragon, Dragon became Dragon, Dragon became Dragon. Still on the fitness journey, beginning the second cycle now. And of course, it is easy, effective, and efficient. Requires no equipment, and it increases general overall fitness. What my workout does, increases general overall fitness. My workout, what it does, it increases general overall fitness. It does, of course. That's easy, simple, and efficient. Requires no equipment. It is simple, effective, and efficient. It does not require any equipment. It increases general overall fitness, and you can do it differently every time. Every time with push-ups, hog squats, play it differently every time. That's what my workout does. It is effective, simple, and efficient. But paradoxically, when I've created it back in 2019, and that's to be discussed in other matters, and we have with security of the North American civilizational complex, and of course because there's more details to it, but generally overall you can do it, try to do it, and if you can do it once, you're a potential dragon. Do 300, you're the next dragon, as I become dragon 0. So I'm advocating for to be in high schools, universities, even as low as maybe 7 years, to try to do it in from the first grade to the 11th grade or 12th grade, to high schools and elementary schools. In elementary school, to be a workout training program, which to be in schools throughout North America. I'm advocating for it, to try it, maybe try it next as soon as possible, maybe next semester. Try it, try my workout, to try to see how it can, if you can do it, because it requires no equipment and it's fun. It can be fun to do within those rules, and you can do it differently until you get. Now, four main rules, four main numbers: 93, 93, 93 minutes, an hour and a half, and 3 minutes. To do 100 push ups, 100 squats, 100 hocks, 100 for each, 13 repetitions maximum, allowed 3 minimum, 31 seconds minimum of marching or jogging or running in between sets. So once you start the countdown, there's no pause. You got to keep it in motion by marching or jogging or running or walking fast pace. 13 reps maximum per set, 3 minimum, anywhere between 7, 6, 9, 5, whatever the number is. 31 seconds minimum of marching or jogging or running fast pace is required. So those are the four main numbers: 93, 13, and 3 to go together, and 31. 31 is half a minute. 31 seconds in between sets is required of marching or jogging or running or walking fast pace. Those are the rules, main numbers. Within those rules, a multiplicity, myriad of combinations which you can do it. Have fun, and those are the rules. Because it's important to have fun. I have fun working out, training, and exercising. It's fun, and it's medicine and therapy. Have been and will continue to advocate for the mass financing, at least across the collective North American civilization. Again, calling on my brothers in the patriarchal, I'm going to say again, sports leagues, Owners and players, players and owners and players, please finance food security and support my call for the mass financing of working out, training, and exercising. It has been, is, and will be my medicine and therapy of choice. I'm more than glad in workout, train, exercise. It's my joy, my medicine, my therapy. We'll continue to have hundreds of workout videos, raw, real, and edited. Hundreds, more than 350 workout, even hundreds, 400 more than workout videos. And I'm beginning the second cycle. And February was the March month of marching. I've marched more than the generals of NATO combined during February. I marched more than the generals of NATO combined during February. I've marched more than the generals of NATO combined during February. Hundreds of miles and kilometers and hours and hours and hours. So February was lots of marching. I did 5 days in a row and 3 weeks. So that's a lot of marching in steel toe boots and yesterday 4 hours. So today maybe gonna work out, if not tomorrow for sure. And we work out, train, exercise has been, is, and will be my medicine and therapy of choice. And I firmly believe the implementation of my Trinity of theories, the CIT citizen integration theory, the DRT death fusion theory, and the democratic fusion theory, that Trinity of theories to be implemented via the fourth dimension. And that fourth dimension is LOVE. Love is action, not just blah blah blah. And to support the creation of the two complementary covenantal cooperative institutions, the North American citizen integrated defense only and solely defense, and security and service and emergency response scenarios such as Fiona, natural disasters, and what have you, to integrate all citizens. And other scenarios, the Dancing Goddess Army, the DGA, the International Integrated Dance League, or the North American Integrated Dance League, because dancing is my favorite sport. And of course, to have Phoenix People's Party, the pro-labor Universal Revolutionary Centrist Party, to have an alignment with all political parties of North America, aligned with the non-sectarian, non-dogmatic, and non-partisan way. Phoenix People's Party with all the parties of North America and beyond, for have learn to channel the aggression and sublimate the aggression and the violence, break the impasse, economic, social, financial, and dance more, hug more, love more, because that's what I want to do. I want to kiss more, I want to hug more, I want to work out more, I want to march more, I want to write more, I want to learn more, I want to do more, I want to do more, I want to do more. Yes, I want to get massages and massage more. I want to get massages and massage more. Yes, I want to get massages and massage more. So I survived COVID. Nothing that I want to go back to pre-COVID. And I've died during COVID. Adrian H. Dragon died during COVID. I'm being reborn. Adrian Hanna Dragon, androgynous pansexual founder of the dancing goddess and the dragon kingdom. And I'm not perfect, far from it. Don't play it self-righteous. Thank you, farmers, farmers, farmers. Thank you, butchers and the nurses and the doctors and the firefighters and the public security workers and the dock workers and the warehouses and all with those steel toe boots and the construction and the potholes. Gotta build some infrastructure right in this North America. Right it is in North America. And I can switch it French to English. English with some French. In this right Quebec, you're in La Belle Province. You're in La Belle Province. You're in La Belle Province. In this Montreal. And I love those hawks. And you're in that hawk, hawk, hawk. HAWK for the island. That's okay. Going with some rainbow dragon with some butterflies. Going with some fly, fly, fly. Got me some Elon Musk, some satellites. Got me some satellites, Elon Musk. Got me some Elon Musk, some satellites. Hey, let it go, rock and roll it. With some kisses and some hugs it. Cause we artists for the rock and roll it. With the rainbow dragons, got it. Never delete, never delete, never delete.